Well, welcome back everyone to the third series in this car wash website, Crazy Town Car Wash website. So in the last series, we created the navigation bar and this particular background image that has this right up on top and a button to make an appointment. So basically, we have two series already out where we explored the Figma design, where we created the project on GitHub, where we clone the project to our local environment, where we set up the project with our folder structures and files, where we created the JS file, the images file, the CSS folders, and the rest of them. So we updated the Git repository with the latest updates. We created our first web page. So now we are going to finish up the design and we'll push the final project to repository. So I think two more series, that's this particular series and the next series before this project will come to an end. So we just have two series more. So let's continue from where we stopped. So basically in this series, we are going to explore how to create this particular location site and also what customers are saying. So these two particular sections of the web page, that is what we are going to create. So let's get started. So now we are done with this div class of wrapper, so we can close that out. So also permits me to just stop the video section of it. So now let's continue. So we want to create a particular section of the site that will contain the map and basically the gallery. So we are going to start with the map. So let's use a semantic tag, which is the section. So we'll give it a class of map, something like that. So this basically is going to hold everything here. Sorry, let's see. It's going to hold everything in this particular area, including our location, this part of the section, and this other part of the section. So that's what this particular section tag is going to hold. So we have this. Let's go back to our Figma design. So let's see the length of this. So this is having a width of this, a height of this, and a background of this. So we can just copy this and go back to our CSS to paste this. So we have main, then map. So we have our main and we have the map. So we'll come back here and do main dot map, something like that. So we do this. And inside here, we'll just paste what we have copied. We basically don't need this. So we'll just format this. So we have 1440 PS, height of these, and a background of this. So if we go back to this, so we have that large space here for us to do our work. So let's go back and keep working. So inside here, we want to divide this div into two. So we want to divide this div into two. But before then, we are going to have a title for our mapper. So we have a title for our mapper. So we have a div and a class of title. So we have a div and a class of title. This title is just location, something like that, from what we already saw here. So we are going to style the title. So we have main dot map. Then we'll now have dot title. So from the Figma design, I want to copy what we have from the Figma design. I want to copy what we have from the Figma design. So if we go to the Figma design, this is basically what I want to copy, this thing that we have here that will make the location come to the center and other designs that we have. So if we check our location, this is where it is. But now that we have copied it, so we can just come here and paste it. Sorry. So we have this. So once we go back, you can see our location is actually coming out pretty well for us. So now we want to create more sections for this. where we have our content. I want to give this a class of content. So this content is basically everything that we have here. That's this particular two divs is what we call content. So inside the content, we are going to divide it into two, where one section will hold this, the other section will hold this. So that is what that content div is all about. So now we are going to style the content div using the CSS from the Figma. So we have this, we have main dot map dot content, something like this. So save this, we'll have something like this. We'll format the document. So if we give this a border of 1 PS solid red, so let's see the area this is occupying. So we can see this area this is occupying. Let me try to explain this. It's taking a width of 85%. So it's taking 85% of this 100 of this 1440 PS, and it's taking 80% of this 738 PS. Margin 20 PS also. So also means I want to center this. At the cost of this centralization, I want to give a 20 PS space from the top. So that's exactly what I have here. Displaying flex because I'm going to divide this into two. One section will hold the right top, one section is going to hold the map. And this is just the border to show what we have. So inside this content now, I'm going to actually create our divs that is going to bear those two items. One will be for the right side, one will be for the left side. I want to give this a class of left side, and I want to give this a class of right side, something like this. So now let's start this. We have content right side, content left side. So we have dot left side and dot right side. So in our left side, we have some CSS from the Figma. Every CSS here is from the Figma design. So from the left side, we have this, where we're having a background of this, a width of this, a height of this, a margin right of this, and a box shadow of this. That's from the left-hand side. Then from the right side, let's see what we have also from the right side. So we have dot main. It's not dot main, this should be main dot map dot content dot right side. So from the right side, I just want to add the image for the right side. So here, once we just paste what we have from the Figma design. So we have, this is the image we need for the Figma design. This is the filter, a drop shadow. So once we come back here, we can see we have the image here. Then we have this particular space for our left-hand side. So if we still go back to the Figma design, we have something like that. This is the image, then this is our left-hand side where we have all these boxes in our left-hand side. So basically, we are going to also work on the left-hand side. So from the left-hand side, we can now have three divs, three sub-divs, something like that. So we can have a div of sub-content, something of that nature, a div of a class of sub-content. So inside this div, that's where we'll have the various write-ups. So now we want to style this sub-content. So this will be something like this. We'll copy this and we'll paste here, dot left side, dot sub-content. So now let's get the style for the sub-content from our CSS in a Figma design. So we'll come back here and put this somewhere here. So we have the CSS for the sub-contents. Then inside the sub-contents, we want to divide the sub-contents into 3 parts. So let's go back to our Figma design and see what we want to do. So the whole of this is the sub-content. We want to divide it into 3 parts. The first part will hold this name, Chinatown. The second part will hold the address, and the third part will hold the phone number. So that's basically the best way to do this. You can decide to put everything under one div, it's fine, but you have to keep dividing to make everything align well. But if you put all of them into separate divs, you can easily work with it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I want to put 3 of them into 3 separate divs. So I will call the first one a p tag, where I will give it a class of, let's say, head. Give it a class of head. So I'll create another p tag where I would give this a class of a class of second head. And the last one, I will give it a class of, let's say, last head, something like that. So the first head will bear the title of the content, the second head will bear the address, and the third head will bear the phone number. So if we go back here, this is the title. You can copy it from here, content, this. We'll go back and put it here. The second one, which is the second head, is bearing this contents here. If we go back, we can copy it and we can put it here. And the third one, of course, will bear the phone number. So we have this phone number here. We can copy it and we paste it. So if we go back to our design, we have something like this. So we are now going to style it to make it look better. So now to style that, we are styling with the name of the classes, head, second head, and last head. So we now have this something like this. So directly inside sub-content, we are having head. So we'll copy this and we'll paste it. We are referencing the dot head. So in our Figma design, let's go to head, and this is the style we have for the head. So let's copy that style and use it in our CSS. So that's it. So we also need to do that for the second head. So this should be second head. So also go to our Figma design for the second head, and we'll also copy the Figma design. And what is left is for the third head. So these are second head. So this is the design for it. So we'll go here and paste it. So the next thing to do is for our third head. So we'll also come here, copy this, come down here and paste it here. This should be for our third head. So we'll go to our Figma design for the third head, which is the phone number. And we call it third head or last head. Let me copy the style, then we'll check. This is called last head, and I'm using third head, sorry. So we have something like this. So let's format this and let's see what we have in the browser. Oh, I can't see this. Where is this? Oh, it's somewhere here. So this is, we have Chinatown, we have this, and we have this, something like this. So if we go back to our design, we have something like this. So now This is somehow down, while our own is somehow up here. So we can actually bring it down a little. So here in my sub content, I can give it another class of origin. And I want to style that origin, left side origin, something like that, which I will give a margin top. So I just have it somewhere, left side. So I have somewhere here, left side origin. So I'll just give it a margin. The reason why I'm not styling this in the sub contents is because I'm going to duplicate this into 3 places. So if I duplicate it, if the style is on the sub content, it's going to affect the 3 of them. So because I want to affect only this first one, that's why I'm giving this another class. So if I now copy this and paste it here and remove this origin, the class will not affect this. I'll copy this and paste it here. So I have these 3 classes, and once I go down, I will have these 3 styles for the 3 of them. So we just have to change the right top for each of them. This is this. So I'll just copy this for the second one, then copy this for the third one. So now basically we have something like this. So we have this, we have this. The next thing to do is to create what customers are saying, something like this. So how can we do that? So now if we click on this, we can see the style for this. So we can just go here. Since we are done with this content, we can just close it up. We are done with this section, we can just close it up so we can create a new tag for our work. So this new tag, we want to call it an aside tag. That's for our gallery. I want to call it an aside tag. Let's give it a class of gallery. Sorry. Let's give it a class of gallery. And now let's style the gallery. So we have main dot gallery. Main dot gallery. So in this main dot gallery, we have something. If we go to our Figma design, we have, sorry, just give me a moment. So now in our gallery, we want to get the CSS for the gallery. This is it, and this is the CSS for the gallery, width of these, height of these, and this. So let's see how we can get the CSS for that. So we're having a width of 1440, and we're having a height of this, and we're having a background for it. So we'll just format this. If we go back, we have something like this. That's for the gallery. So now if we go back to our design, the gallery, we have also this top one here. Then we have some cards. We have 3 cards, 3 equal cards. So let's see how we can work on these cards also. So now in this gallery, let's have a div. Let's have a div that is saying what our customers are saying. So just come here and have something like this, a div class of lead, what customers are saying, something like this. So in our CSS, let's try to style that and see what we have. So here we have a style still from the Figma design, a gallery of lead, width of 100%, height of these, and the rest of them. So if we go back, we have what customers are saying. So now we need to have the tag for the cards itself. So I want to create a div that has a class of slide, So in this class of slide, I want to divide this slide into 3 parts. If we go back, this is the first part, this is the second part, this is the third part, this is the fourth part. It's even 4 parts. The image part of it, the name part of it, the write-up part of it, and this is like the rating part of it into 4 different parts. So that's what I want to do here. So now I have this slide and I have this. So let me get a flex div. So let me copy this. I just have it somewhere. So I'm going to explain what I have here. So I have a div class of slide. So this slide is like a div holding the whole 3 cards. So inside the 3 cards, this is for each of them. Flex div. So each of them, I'm now divided it into 4. The top part for the image, the second part for the name, the third part for the write-up, then the fourth part for the ratings itself. So now we can just get to our CSS. So in our CSS, let's try to work on it. So this, I'll just copy the CSS. Just permits me to get the style. So now we have the style. So we have the style somewhere here. This is where for the slide, we have a width of 90%, height of 80%, margin of 60 ps up to, and a display flex. Justify content is space in between. So this slide, I want to have evenly space in between 3 of them. So that's why I'm using this space between them. So this is just the style for the top, the image at the top for the second, the H2 for the second, the third, the H5 for the third, then the last, then the images for the last. So I think we don't need this. So now once I save this and I go back to this, I have something like this for the first one. So I can just duplicate this flex div into 3 places. So I'll just close this up, duplicate this into 3 places, and just change the write-up. So this for the second one, this for the third one. So for the second one, I have ellipse 1, if I'm not mistaken. And for the last one, I have ellipse 2. This, I think one of the ratings for the last one is open instead of close. So I have this open. So I think the names changes. We have Daniel this for the name. That's for the second one. Yeah, that's for this. And for the third one, we have mouse burgers. So we have these mouse burgers. So once we save these and save this, hopefully everything should look out well for us. So we have our navbar, we have our background, we have the location, and we have what the customers are saying. So this is where we'll end for this series. In the last series for this video, we'll talk about how to add this particular content and the footer. That will be all that we have for this. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this particular series. I think before we end, we can just push to GitHub and make sure that everything is up to date. So I will just do the normal git add, git commit, add the gallery, then git push origin reaches. So once I do that, I'll just go to my GitHub and try to, once I go to the code, go to Rich's branch. You can see I've made a push. Have two commits behind push. I'll just try to create a pull request and try to match. So I want to create a pull request. Why is it not allowing me to do that? Or maybe I'll try to do that offline and see what the problem is. So I'll just end this video here for today. So I hope you were able to understand one or two things. See you in the next and the last series.